everybody. This is Joel Marshall, and I am here to talk to you about learning how to use your computer better at learnmycomputer.com. Today I'm going to explain a concept that I want to make sure that everybody grasps. Many of you might understand this already, but you might learn something in this little tutorial. So on the screen you'll see I have a picture of a typewriter. Many of you are familiar with the typewriter and how we used to take a piece of paper, put it in the typewriter, type on it, and get ourselves a document, a page of a book, a letter, a legal document. This is what we used to do. Some of us might still do this, but generally we use a computer to do that now. So what do we use on the computer to do that? We use one of the most popular ones is called Microsoft Word, and that's the Mac icon for Microsoft Word. And we use, instead of a piece of paper, we use something called a document, a file. So this is the relationship that I want us to understand here, is the file and the application relationship. So when we used typewriters, the piece of paper had a certain relationship to the typewriter. The typewriter was the tool that we used to type on the piece of paper. This is the same on the computer in that Microsoft Word is the tool that we use to type on the document, and we get ourselves this document here, which is called fish.docx. Well, what is this docx? This is kind of confusing to many of us. Why does it say fish.docx? And why does this icon also say docx? Well, docx is the file extension for the application Microsoft Word. So a file extension, what is a file extension? A file extension is, in the name of the file, everything after the dot is called the file extension, and all that does is tell the computer this file should be opened with this application. So docx is the file extension for Microsoft Word. And so this can be a problem in the world because many of us have emailed files to other people that we know, and the other person sends back an email saying, you know, I couldn't open that attachment. I couldn't open that file that you sent me. And 90% of the time, it's because the file extension was not on the name of the document. Sometimes on your computer, the file extension is hidden. Sometimes it's not put on the name, and other computers don't know what it is. But if you have a file extension and start to kind of understand what these are all about, you will not have that problem. Even if you send to a Windows computer, the Windows computers, Microsoft Word, will know, oh, this is a Microsoft Word document. So these are very important, file extensions, and I want you to understand that and why they're important. They're important so we know what program opens that file. If that file extension wasn't there, if you double-clicked on the file, it would ask you, what application do you want to open this with? And many of you have seen that before. And that's because it doesn't have an extension. Okay? The other thing I want you to understand is the relationship between an application and a file. Certain files go with certain applications. It's that simple. Paper goes with the typewriter. However, a record does not go with the typewriter. A record goes with a jukebox. So I put the record in the jukebox, it plays music for me. I put the Word document in Microsoft Word, I can type a book or a letter or anything that I want. But it's all about typing on a document that's meant to be read. So what's the equivalent of the record and the jukebox on the computer? Well, many of you know iTunes is your jukebox on your computer, and it opens certain types of files, one being an MP3. So here is an album, the Who album, and the song Love, Rain Over Me, and you can see the album cover there. That kind of makes it easier for you to understand that this is a music album. And then .mp3 is the extension, which iTunes likes MP3 files. There are other types of music files. MP3 is one of the most popular, and that MP3 will play in iTunes. It won't, however, play in Microsoft Word because it's not a document. That would be the equivalent of trying to open a record with a typewriter. It doesn't work. So, what are some other examples? Well, here's another example. If you watch a television program, you watch it on a television. Television program goes with the television. Television program does not go with the typewriter. I think you're getting that. I think that you understand that. Now, what is the equivalent on the Apple computer? Well, the Apple computer has something called QuickTime that plays video files. And what is a video file? What's an example of a video file? Well, here's a video file of a flag waving, and it's called flagwaving.mov. MOV stands for movie, which is played by QuickTime. So if you double click on flagwaving.mov, QuickTime will open it and play it for you. Microsoft Word will not open flagwaving.movie and play it for you. It's just not what Microsoft Word does. So I think that, I don't want to beat this into the ground, but I think you're getting an idea that dot, whatever's after the dot, tells us what application is going to open and use this file. So that's really what I want you to understand. I'm going to say one other thing here that is a concept that I just want to put out there for you, and that is Safari. The application Safari. A lot of you know that this is an application that helps you look at web pages. Well, Safari is an application as well, and it reads files that we know of as web pages. And we don't really see the files when we do this because the files are on other computers out there on the internet. The internet is essentially a lot of computers out there, big computers, that are accessible through our computer by going to an internet browser such as Safari. And a browser enables us to view files on distant computers. And so, for instance, the Los Angeles Times web page, this initial page is a file that we're opening up in Safari, just like we would be opening up a Word document in Word. It's the same relationship. And I just want you to understand that because I think it'll help in the long run understanding that concept that the application Safari is just opening files just like Word is opening files or QuickTime is opening movie files. And that is all I want to say today. If you have any questions, please email me at joel@learnmycomputer.com. That's joel@learnmycomputer.com. I thank you all for subscribing, and we will talk to you next week.